Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Voice Mood. Do you have singing questions? Well, that's what we're doing here today, talking singing. So drop your singing questions in the chat. I'd love to hear what you're wondering. Without further ado, though, we will get started. We have some pre planned questions today here on the Voice Mood. We're going to talk about lots of topics here. Super excited. If you don't know me, hello, I'm Olivia Peck. I'm your local millennial voice teacher. I've been teaching for about 10 years now. Yeah, and I'm going to try to last the whole hour with y'all as per usual. I have to say, I just woke up from a nap, which, if you ask my boyfriend Jeff, I do not take naps. It was specifically because I'm feeling a bit under the weather, just tired and have a sore throat and all that stuff. Hey, Justin's here. All James Music. Y'all go follow All James Music. Here's what we're talking about today. But of course, let us know if you have burning questions out there. All right, so going to talk about some of the burning questions in the Facebook group, or topics, I should say. Student things that came up in voice lessons this week, and vocal health, practicing your learning pace, and some other things. That nice blank rectangle here. You're welcome. That was sick Olivia doing the slideshow. Hey, Chris is here. All right, the whole gang's here. Here we go into our first topic. Super exciting. Dry desert. You ever feel dry? Dryness is like the worst thing for singing, one of the worst things. Okay, being dehydrated. And so I call this dry desert. Who's played Mario Kart? Okay, I love it. I have a problem. Anyways, one of the levels is called dry desert, and that's how I feel when I don't drink enough water. And this is a fun little tidbit. Check it out. The neurovocal method. The outermost layer of the vocal folds is called the epithelium. It's just a few cells thick. Those cells are packed together to create a shield protecting the tissue beneath it. They're mostly water. So a hydrated cell is a happy cell. Here are some things, y'all, that will make you dry desert, like the sands in Mario Kart. Not drinking water. All right, this is a little embarrassing, but I'm used to it now. I carry this around. I carry it around, and it's my water bottle. They have them at Target. I also, in my links in my description, I put all the types of stuff that I really like, and a big water bottle is one of them. Caffeine. As you can see, I love coffee, and I will never, ever give it up. Unless I'm doing like a weird thing, which I have done before. I've given it up for a time. But caffeine, coffee, tea, it dries you out. Okay, Dr. Pepper, it dries you out, guys. So just make sure if you drink caffeine that you also drink a little extra water. Okay, alcohol. Ooh, alcohol is a big one, and a lot of singers drink alcohol. They'll drink them at shows sometimes. So just have to be careful because there's a lot of complications that come with alcohol, not just drying you out. It also can make you talk louder than you actually want to or intend to. It can, interrupt your sleep as well. So sleep and recovery is very important for La Voce. All right. So if you're drinking alcohol, make sure you're just drinking a lot of water and not being too loud, and kind of just being aware of the effects of it and your sleep and all that stuff. Smoking. Smoking's an interesting one. All right. So I understand there's medicinal smoking out there, yada yada yada. I'm not here to talk about all of that stuff, but I will say that smoking can dry out your voice. So just make sure that if you smoke, it's obviously, don't smoke it. If you smoke, just make sure you give your voice time to recover. And we've talked about that before. Just, the inflammation it causes is more of the thing, and the irritation from smoke will irritate your vocal folds. So anyway, la 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 la. Certain medications. Yeah. And look, we have someone chiming in here. Y'all ask your questions. Also, having a dry vocal cords, it's hard to sing mix. Yeah, your mixed voice is sort of a tedious, difficult thing to master already. And your vocal folds are sort of like stretched out when you're singing in mixed voice and they're really close together. And um, that's why it's a tedious venture. So when your vocal folds are all dry, it's really hard to achieve that nice clear sound. So if you're like, "Oh, maybe that's my issue with mixed voice," could be. And in pop music, that mixed voice is like the glue that holds your chest voice and head voice and brings it all together and smooths it out. Something to think about if you're dry. So certain medications will dry you out, something to be aware of for sure. And I really can't stress that enough. I might take some medication and if I have to sing, I'll drink double the water. Literally, I will. And the thing about drinking water is, yes, you want to drink it while you're singing, but it's really important that you hydrate the day before and hours before your performance. It takes time to hydrate your body. You know, water isn't is it's pretty immediate. It only takes a couple hours or maybe even less to feel a little less thirsty, but it's still better to hydrate the day before or even hours and hours before. Something to think about. It does work to just drink more water. I stand by that. All right. All right, moving on here. All right. So, yeah, here are some things that will help moisturize your voice. So, big water bottle, duh. Humidifier. If you live in a drier region, when I was living in Michigan, super dry. If you're living in California, Nevada, super dry. If so especially in winter months in certain places, get yourself a humidifier. It actually makes a huge difference. I'm getting a nebulizer in the mail tomorrow because I'm feeling under the weather. And I'm like, all right, this is the time. I know other singers use it, and I'm going to finally use one and I'll let y'all know how it goes. But I think they're great. It's basically you put a saline solution in there and you sort of breathe in the vapor, and it directly moisturizes your vocal tract and your airways. Okay, very important. I'm not a doctor. Here we go. Moving on. It's all good stuff though. Stand by it. Okay, so this came up with a student this week, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to talk about this. I love this quote: set yourself up, don't upset yourself. Yeah, so planning is everything, right? Planning is everything when you're singing a song, planning is everything when you are doing anything in life. We have some people who like to plan and some people who don't, right? Let me know if you're a planner. I feel like there's a planner in every relationship, and then there's a person who doesn't plan. That's also a thing. I digress. So set yourself up. When you are in your lessons practicing, you want to think about these things right here that we sometimes neglect in our practice. Facial expressions. When you get on stage, you might get a little bit more animated than when you are practicing with your teacher, practicing at home, because you're just going through the song. I heard that you settled down, that you found a girl, that you're married. Okay. But on stage, you're feeling the energy, you're feeling excited, and your face is going to change. These muscles in your face are connected to your throat muscles, which are connected to your vocal folds. So it's important to actually practice your facial expressions and what comes with that, the energy and the breathing. So sometimes when I'm on stage, I can tell I'm bringing in more breath because my heartbeat goes up. And it's something that I really have to watch personally. And you might notice that too. So being aware of your breath and controlling it and practicing that control in your rehearsals and hyping yourself up, getting in a more hype state so you know what it feels like. That's really important because when it comes to showtime, you might be in a different state. You're in a different, like we see here, atmosphere, mental state. And since our body is our instrument, it's important to think about that stuff. Okay, Chris says here, yeah, I saw your expressions when you were singing covers. Yeah, so when you're expressing yourself, you're gonna have some different faces you're making, and it's way more natural when you're in front of an audience. So, practicing in your head, I've got an audience and I have a perfect story for that, but y'all please ask your questions if you have them. I will stop to answer your questions. But here we go. A perfect example of this is Michael Phelps. Did you guys know that he actually practiced with his eyes closed when he was in the pool? He famously broke a world record. I think he won gold. That would kind of go together, I guess, when his goggles fell off. And that would be totally horrible for most people. Or you're maybe on stage. I was on stage, and one time my outfit started disintegrating. I had a vintage dress on, and it started falling apart. I'm serious. On stage, and I'm standing there on stage, like trying to hold my dress up. Stuff happens live that we just cannot predict. And Michael Phelps practiced that. So you kind of, when you think of stuff that could happen, you account for it, you practice with it, and it gives you confidence. Like anything can happen, I'm ready. And it also can really benefit you if something does go wrong. Okay. Tips on playing and singing at the same time. My number one tip for singing and performing at the same time is to get your playing down so it's muscle memory. If you're playing piano, if you're playing guitar, you want the strum motion to be pretty second nature. In my opinion, singing takes a lot more focus than the accompaniment you're using. It's called accompaniment, right? It's supposed to go with your voice. The voice, the performance that you're doing is more important. There might be a point where you bring it back, you're not singing, and you do a little solo on the piano or on guitar. I'll do that sometimes. I'll do like a little improv or something, but not at the same time as my singing. One, because that would distract me. It would be too busy sounding. And two, it's too much to think about. So getting that strum pattern down and really getting comfortable. It took me a pretty long time to actually feel comfortable enough to perform with my guitar. Piano a little bit sooner, but with guitar, it wasn't until after the pandemic. I spent so much of the pandemic practicing guitar. I mean, hours and hours and hours and hours and hours, that I was finally comfortable. But it wasn't like, I know I am a musical person, but it's not natural. It wasn't the first natural inclination for me. Yeah, so Chris says when I sing, I just do up and down strumming. For the most part, I will too, and I'll throw in maybe some arpeggio type things if it's easy enough, to mix it up. But it has to feel really easy. And I also do little tricks, to kind of turn down my guitar a little bit. So it's not the star of the show. It's the background. It's to enhance my singing. And I think that's really an important thing to think about when you are performing. It just takes practice, and that's kind of an annoying answer, but it tends to be the truth. Okay, so here we go. Moving right along. Great question. Love it. Love y'all's questions. All right, so this really ties it all together. How do you practice? A book I really like is Eat That Frog. This is in my list of books on my website. I love this book. It's not that long. I highly recommend it for literally any type of person. It's not written for musicians, it's written for people who just want to be more productive. Talks about the 80-20 rule, which is really cool and useful for 20% of the most important things that you do, you can probably think of the most important things that you do in a day. They give you a lot of the time 80% of the results. And then you've got 80% of the things you do that are kind of nothing burger things. You can think of them like, I don't really need to do this right now. I can really wait to do this, but you'll get sucked into a minor task that's not important that ends up taking 2 hours. Yeah. So you can prioritize the 20% that gives you the most results. So for you, if you know that when you really focus on your breath control, or if you really focus on your vowels, or if you really focus on not over singing, and you know that that's the most beneficial thing to focus on that first. And then you can start looking into, oh, I want to be more expressive. I want to make this my own. Some people really need to just focus on hitting the note straight on. They need to focus on connecting more. It's helpful to have a teacher to tell you these things, and that's a rule that I follow with my students. Like, what's going to help this student the most, right? So, this is good. Chris says mostly practice scales when singing guitar, piano, bass. Scales are really good. If you aren't sure what a scale is, it's in singing would be do re mi fa sol la ti do ti la so fa mi re do. Some people do numbers 1 2 3 4 5. So scales are really great because they teach you the structure of music basically. Everything is within a scale or a chord. So when you learn your chords, your scales, it's really beneficial. Helps with all sorts of things, helps with ear training, helps with warming up. So I would highly recommend that. And if you're like, I really want to learn music, but I do not know what to start with, I would start with learning piano and learning the scales on the piano. Yeah. So, yeah, there's a lot of things that can get in the way. If you have, yeah, ADHD, executive dysfunction, or hyperfocus, certainly it's hard to pick a thing. And that's why I really like that book because it kind of gave me permission to do that. Like, it's normal to struggle to pick a thing. These are great questions and topics, y'all. So thank you. And feel free, if you're just joining the show, to ask a question, state a comment or grievance about singing. I want to know where you are in your singing journey, maybe where you're located, what's going on with you. And yeah, if you have any questions for us today, moving right along. Post-show blues. You ever get done with a performance or a recording that you made for Instagram and afterwards you put all that time in it and you feel kind of down, kind of blue? We call this post-show blues. Yeah, and it happens. You get done with a performance and you feel kind of bad. You're like, I should have done this, or maybe you just miss it, that kind of thing. Here are some things that can mitigate this. Plan something fun afterwards. Reward yourself. Celebrate. Okay, that's number 3. Celebrate the wins. Get some ice cream. Who likes ice cream? 2, communicate with your loved ones. So this can be good. I like to talk to my parents a lot. I love my parents. And my partner's great. He comes to my stuff. He supports me. It's good to tell your friends and family too when things matter to you, so they know and they're aware of it. Because a lot of times they're not as invested as you are. So if you need that support, like don't be afraid to reach out and be like, hey, just got done with a performance. I could really use some like boosting up right now or whatever, some support. Is good to communicate that stuff because it's easy to get just stuck in your head after a performance. Okay, so we have a comment here. Someone in Cincinnati, Ohio. Chris says, I fight myself being a baritone, trying to make myself focus on tenor. I was picking keys too high that I felt like I was a failure. Aw, yeah. So when you are just learning to sing for the first time, or you've been even doing it for a long time, like I think Chris has, it is still a challenge to pick what type of range you should sing in. And even for professional singers, it changes over time. And there are certain things you'll hear artists say. I was just talking to a student this morning who he was talking about Elvis feeling like he was limited with the type of voice he had. And, or Marvin Gaye, actually. I think, don't ask me how I got those mixed up, but but Marvin Gaye wanted a certain type of voice, but he didn't feel, and he has an amazing voice. So it's easy to kind of get this tunnel vision about your voice and want to do something you can't do. But you chances are you have something to share. And I talk about that a lot. All right, so all James music artist here. My blues stick for months. Very hard on myself on recordings and try to work hard to re record vocals. Sometimes I go back for a third time when I should just release and move on. It's so hard to know when to stop, right? Like when do you go, okay, that's it. And sometimes you do have to just stop. And this is something I think filmmakers deal with as well. Like, when is it the final edit? When is it the final edit? And yeah, at some point you do. You just have to move on. But that's a really good thing to bring up and talk about because it's something that a lot of people struggle with. Yeah. So, really, really good comment. Thank you so much, All James Music, and love y'all's questions. So, keep them coming. If you have any singing questions at all, we're here. We love to talk about singing. Go ahead and subscribe for the next one. And if you missed this live, you're watching it later, then go ahead and drop your questions in the comments and I'll answer your question for sure. Okay, we had a question from this week. It says at DDP8799, talking about something I've been wondering about in the example of Elvis. This is a timbre question. He always wished that he would have had an even stronger bass ability with his voice. This must have been what I was thinking about also. So Elvis also wished he, according to this commenter, wished he had more bass ability. Okay. Yet, when you listen to his sound, it's almost as if he is singing a bass part at the same time he is singing a regular lyric. Okay. I've wondered if they more did that with the recordings and the recording equipment, or if he was just doing it by the way his voice worked. His voice always seemed bigger, warmer, surrounded with bass while singing the words at the same time. So, this is something that comes up so much. You ever hear like Adele and think, wow, her voice is so full, it's so warm, it's low. When actually, she doesn't have a low voice. I don't think of her as like a bass or a contralto or something. She actually can sing quite high, but the quality of her voice, the warmth of her voice, that richness makes her sound like she has this low voice. And I think that's kind of what this commenter is saying is sometimes those choices and how we create our timbre and our sound, oh, as opposed to same note, but one, the overtones are different because of my mouth shape. It's pretty fascinating stuff. And I respond like this. So in my opinion, Elvis is someone who may be, you know, a true bass or a baritone. Not sure. I think he's baritone. But he chose to create that warm tone. A covered tone, that's another thing that can change that, oh, your lips going over uh, a little bit. And it gives it more depth, even if he's not a bass, even if he wants to be a bass. Okay. All of these things give you depth and differ from the bright pop sound you hear when someone wants to sound like they are taking things to an impressively high belt. So that's kind of what I've already said, but you get the idea, right? So some things to think about in regards to timbre, and I have a video on timbre, and I'll link it afterwards. Nicole, hey Nicole. I feel like my notes are slightly darker, flatter than they should be. Is this related to performance and how best to change that mouth shape or other? I find a lot of the time that smiling in the cheeks helps with this. It's something I actually can relate to as well. It's very common to feel like you feel like you're flat, you're darker than you want to. Try smiling in the cheeks. So, hear the difference? Now, I smiled quite a bit there. When I tell people, hey, smile, they might do this. They're barely moving their face. You do have to really move sometimes for some people. And the wider you go with it, the more it changes your sound. Same note. Hear how my jaw changed it as well? Makes a really big difference. All of these shapes. So, really good question. Thank you so much for asking that. Why do people expect me to sing bass just because I'm a baritone, but I can't sing bass? So, when singing harmony, what part should I sing? So, this is a fun question because when you have a choice, what harmony should you sing? You should sing whatever feels good. I just found this Instagram account with this guy. I'm sorry, I don't remember his name. Let me know in the comments if you know who I'm talking about. But he sings harmonies to a bunch of songs and then he labels the video of what he's doing and he'll put like, I'm a fourth below, I'm an octave below, I'm an octave above, I'm a third above. And he does that and it's really refreshing and informative. It's like, oh, I didn't think to do octave below. I haven't thought to do that in a very long time. And my friend and I who sing harmonies, I'm like, oh, this can jog our memory of what would fit. So you have choices. You have choices. Also, bluegrass singing is more closed singing, I think. Yeah, that wider, more mixed voice sound. I'm it up with the king, and he said, yeah, very I would say close is a good descriptor there. All right, so moving right along to another question. Love the questions, guys. Keep them coming if you are wondering anything. Would love to answer your questions here on the Voice Mood. Okay, we had a question here. I'm so sorry, I can't read the commenter's name. I think they said they were from Russia in another comment. So, hello from Russia. She says, or he says, thank you, dear Olivia. I love all your videos. You're so welcome. What do you think how to not copy some singer's style and not be disappointed by my own singing? While I might not have my own when I sing like me, it doesn't sound interesting. When I try to copy, it sounds better, but the song starts to be the shadow of something real, someone else's style. So, in my last video, I talk about covers and how to make it your own. It's a little advanced, I will say that. Now, when you're just starting to cover a song, though, I just want to give you permission to sing it like the original if it feels good. Okay? If it ain't broke, don't fix it type thing. You know, there's only so many choices you can make. And when you're singing to an audience, it's this collective experience you're having. You're remembering a song, you are reliving a time. Music's so powerful that way. So people actually love hearing something familiar. So mastering a song the way the artist originally did it is not bad. What's not fun is when you feel empty about it, or you don't know how to express yourself, or you don't like the way it sounds when you try to do what the original was doing. That's when you go, okay, should I move the song higher or lower to be more comfortable for me? That will naturally bring some stuff out. Sometimes you just need to sing a song a lot of times to start to find new things, just like rehearsing for a play. You ever rehearse for a play and you start to find new little moments and fun things to add? Just like that, the more you do something, the more you're going to kind of unlock stuff. like, oh, actually I'm going to get louder here, or I'm going to pick a lower note for this part, that type of thing. I have to say a very important part of the learning music journey, especially in things like jazz, is copying. Learning how to copy something teaches you a lot. It teaches you a lot about technique. Let me know in the comments if you have learned a song exactly as it's written. It's pretty useful, right? Like sometimes you want to move on from that and not do that anymore. But when you're starting out, it's very valuable to do that. Okay, so Chris says sometimes I take a song and make it slower. Oh, yeah, good idea. For example, I'm Blue by Eiffel, is that how they say it? Making it more slow, ballad, folk-like. Yeah, totally. So fun. It can be changing up the tempo can really make a big difference as well. So that's a very good comment to bring up. Can really change it. All right, so much I can say about this. Really endless things. Performance anxiety seems to always come up. Here's some things I like to remind everybody that everyone's thinking about themselves. Social media, honestly, y'all, it's I don't know a lot of people who feel like it's fairies and rainbows on social media, and I feel like it just needs to be acknowledged and said. So if you're struggling with that self-doubt, I mean, pretty much all of my friends are artists and trying to put their stuff out there and putting their stuff out there, and it doesn't take away from their talent when they don't get any likes. They're like some of the most talented people I know. It's just rough. It's hard to make it out there. So don't get discouraged. Keep doing your thing. Sometimes you just have to have a sense of humor, ha ha ha. This is hard right now, but I'm living, man. Livin. Whatever. Sometimes you have to laugh and rip the band-aid off. Some of y'all got to rip the band-aid off. I know I do. Like, just do it. It's all right. You'll be fine. We'll all be fine. Everything's fine. Okay. Glottal stops. Okay. This is an exciting one. Who knows what a glottis is? I had to refresh. I'm going to be honest. I know what a glottal stop is, but I could not for the life of me remember what a glottis is. But we're going to talk about it. First, we have a comment about covers. Chris likes to, see people change a song to minor. Do that with hymns. Yeah, you can change it up. Change it from major to minor. Change it from minor to major. See what happens. Why not? All right. What's a glottal stop? I hear this a lot. I've had several students where this came up this week, so I said, I'm going to talk about this. So, glottal stop is when you're singing a song and you're going, that's not a good song. Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Stars is not a good song, but this Adele song is always good. I heard that you've settled down, I've heard, that glottal, that's my vocal folds coming together. I've, good Lord. So that sound is bringing your vocal folds together and sort of making you start from a place where your vocal folds are sort of tightly squeezed together. That's a glottal stop. Sometimes it's cool. You throw it in, but you want to be mindful of it because some people do it for like every single word and it stops the flow. In singing, we like stuff to be connected, right? So if you go, I heard, or even a big like scoop, I heard that you've settled down. If you're always starting in your low chest voice and you're kind of scooping up, you want to try not to do that. I mean, that didn't feel great doing that. So I heard that you've settled down, keeping it nice and open and connected, that type of thing, and not scooping and chopping it up and stuff like that. But what is the glottis? So there's a little bit of a picture here, and you can see it in between the vocal folds. It's the space that has your vocal folds and your voice. I'm sorry. All I have to do is read. It's a region within your voice box that contains your vocal cords. So your vocal folds. All right? That's what it is. And we got a shout out. Let's check it out. A shout out to your recommendation of All James's Round Downtown. Now on my playlist and such a catchy song. Really enjoying it. That's awesome. Yes, song of the summer. Okay. Check out All James Music and check out Round Downtown. Really fun song. It's going to kind of take you back. It has sort of a nostalgic vibe, in my opinion, but it's just fun. So support this new upcoming artist, All James Music, and check out this song. Show him some love. Okay. Really cool stuff. All right. So here we go. Go into the next thing. Just have to do my little reminders. If you want to take a voice lesson, hit me up. Links are in the description. Send me a voice memo if that's more convenient for you. There's a place to do that on my website. Thanks, y'all. Okay, and here's something interesting. Chris says, this isn't a question, but have you heard of the breathless monk? He sings under one breath. It's 3 minutes long. Whoa. I have not, Chris. That sounds like something I would like to see, though. Sounds neat. All right, folks, moving right along. Any questions, go ahead, ask away. This might be all of the submitted questions. Perfect. Glad to have you all here. I will show you some pictures of my gig this past week. I was at a fun little film festival, horror film festival, and so I was playing some songs. I have this books and coffee stand where I sell used books. It's a little thrifty venture of mine. It's very fun. And I will sing at it here. I will probably have feedback on that. But, anyways, that is my little book stand. And then here's me setting up. Hey. And this is the film festival. Super fun. If you're a film nerd like me, then feel free to follow me on Insta, Olivia @Olivia____Peck. Yeah, that's how many underscores, 3. And that's where I post more film stuff. So, anywho, any questions, guys, feel free to reach out. I will probably end this stream a little early today because I am recovering from my little cold that I have going on. I had to cancel my in-persons today because I didn't want to get anybody sick. I literally was resting after my online lessons this morning. I'm a big believer in resting la voce, the voice, okay? And so y'all should do it if you need to. You should, because it's important, and I have a gig on Sunday, so I'm trying to recover. Yes, and if you're in the acting community, I also hope that we act together because it is not that big of a world, and I've met people from all around the country. Here's a picture of, oh, that's not a picture of my dogs. Here's a picture of my dogs in the car. Just thought I would throw that up there. And on that note, if anybody has any more questions, I'll hang out for like one more minute, but it's been such a good time talking with y'all today. Love the questions, always a joy. And without further ado, I think I'm going to wrap it up. But take care of yourself and enjoy the rest of your I hope you get a long weekend and enjoy that with family and friends. Okay? All right, y'all. Have a great night. Have a great night or morning.